Hello everyone, welcome to A Talks. You are with architect Avitesh. Our today's guest is architect Surendra Vaga, who will discuss on climate responsive architecture. Architect Vaga is founder of Sakar Foundation, which is situated in Chandigarh. His works are published in many journals. He has been awarded with M. Vishweshwarya Award by Woodco in 1995. He is a renowned personality of architecture world. I would like to welcome sir, and it is our pleasure to have him with us. Over to you, sir. Thank you. Suren sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you can start
Yes,
now.
Avitesh.
Yes, sir, you can start now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Share the screen, please.
So you need to share the screen. Just press present now and you can share your screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Avitesh, can you mute yourself? Yeah. Hello, friends. Uh, I would like to convey my thanks to Architect Avitesh for giving me this opportunity to share my works with you. Today, we are going to talk about climate responsive architecture. These are some of the shlokas which are published in all the holy scriptures. This is a quote from Purana, the Holy Puran. It highlights the importance of trees. Likewise, these are the lines from the Holy Guru Granth Sahib, which says that the God has given us earth to live and die on, but we have forgotten these blessings and have sought destruction. Quran has also some ayats in which which says one ayat says Allah has sent down rain from the sky and given life thereby to the earth after its lifelessness. Indeed, in that is a sign for people who listen. Similar importance of saving the environment, saving the motherland is versified in the Holy Bible. So, if I conclude this, in all the holy books of all religions, there is a lot of emphasis which is laid on saving the Mother Earth, saving the environment. Now, we as architects always talk about sustainability. What is sustainability? Sustainability is taking less from the earth and giving more to the people. When we talk about buildings, we all know buildings consume major portion of energy. Some of the surveys are indicating that buildings consume as high energy as 48% of the total world's energy. It's too much. That means we as architects need to focus on this subject, that how we can design the buildings to save the energy. So to have a quick look, giving you some historical examples. This is the picture of remains of Mohenjo-daro, which was existing in 2600 BC. You can see in this picture, our forefathers have given a lot of respect to the local topography, to the wind direction, to the local climate, and to the local materials. There was a proper drainage system. The houses were planned with uh, very modern houses were planned, which have no decoration. And likewise, in Rajasthan, in the Rajput period, in 1200 AD, you find these Havelis. You look at the intricate detailing of the facade, how the windows are shielded from the dusty winds, and we have a courtyard planning, we have self-shading pathways, all we have a courtyard planning in these Havelis. In 200 years of the Mughal Empire, when the architecture of India was at its peak perfection, we have these. This picture is, we all know, is of Taj Mahal. How much importance was given to the landscaping of the entire area, and in South India, this Jahangir Mahal Palace, it got a central courtyard, it got thick walls, it got projections over the windows and openings. You know, this all was done by our ancestors to make the buildings comfortable, but not damaging the environment and the Mother Earth. You know, in during the British Raj, when this Lutyens and Herbert Baker came to Delhi, they studied Delhi's climate, and accordingly they started designing this Secretariat of Delhi and this Parliament House and many churches and Saint Stephen's School in New Delhi. They have taken full care of the environment. In 50s, when Corbusier was called by Pandit Nehru, the first thing on reaching Chandigarh was he asked his team to study the climate of Chandigarh, and accordingly the city was to be planned. And on our left side is a picture of open hand monument, which is about 80 feet tall, and it gives the wind direction. It gives the wind direction. This is the emblem of Chandigarh also. So this was installed, planned to create awareness in residents about the wind direction, and this was in a way message for the architects and the residents of Chandigarh that we need to respect the climate. This is the High Court building where Corbusier has a, you know, it got a proper orientation. Facing this side is the north side. You see how beautifully with a combination of horizontal and vertical louvers he has shielded the windows, and double roof was put on this particular building to shade the building from the harsh sun rays. Chandigarh is the only city where 35% of the areas are green, and we are proud to say that we have 1700 parks in the city. After having so much of a beautiful historic past, you know, what we have started, we architects are doing now, you look at these buildings, one in Punjab, one is in Haryana, another in Mumbai, another one in Bangalore. You see, all the buildings, they look alike. They are glass clad, aluminum clad. They have nothing to do with the climate. And we are, you know, closing the windows, everything, and putting large size air conditioners. And what we are supposed to do now, you know, this is a conceptual sketch which indicates that if we evolve these kind of cross sections, these kind of concepts, we can definitely save the energy. In this, when we save the energy, we reduce the demand for heating and cooling or lighting, and we use energy efficient appliances. You know, then we can claim that we are designing an energy efficient buildings. India is a huge subcontinent, we all know, and you know, it has been divided into 5 parts. 5 parts are cold and cloudy region, which is Jammu Kashmir and parts of Himachal. Composite region is this light golden color, as is shown in this sketch. And hot and dry region is Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat. Warm and humid region is a coastal belt, and moderate region is a very small pocket near Pondicherry.
पापा भी सो रहे क्या?
When we design buildings in each zone has its own parameters for designing the buildings. So in brief, we will be talking about these. When we design buildings in a composite region, which is Punjab, Haryana, Central India,
एक बार आराम से
we have to, these are the design strategies which we are supposed to follow. Resist heat gain in summer and resist heat loss in winter. This is one strategy. Second is promote heat loss in summers and in monsoons. How we can do it? You can read on the screen. I have given some pointers. We can put cavity walls, thicker walls, roof insulation, wall insulation, orienting the building in a right way. And for promoting heat loss, we can have courtyards, wind towers, and tree plantations and water ponds, etc. This is a church building we designed in Chandigarh, and Government of India has, in one of the surveys conducted by TERI, they have selected it as one of the best 41 building in India. What we have done is, you can see this photograph, we have provided very small and deeply recessed openings, and we have given a light color treatment outside. Even the vaulted roof on the top is painted with the white color so that incident sun rays are reflected. And around the building we have provided cavity wall. You see in this plan there is a cavity wall all around. The interior of the building is on an average 5 degrees cooler than any conventional building in the near vicinity. This is the merit, and we do not need to lit the interiors during the day. Each corner gets the right light at the right place. Another church we did in Chandigarh, and this church was one of India's entry in the 5th Asian Congress of Architects, which were held at Lahore 2 years back. This is the western side, which is the most dangerous side, because the sun gets very hot in the evenings. The western side was the front side, so we have designed it in such a way that it looks aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time there are no windows here. But on the other hand, there is ample light inside because the windows are placed in such a way that they are not facing the western wall. This is the plan of this sculpturous church. Then we got a chance to design a Bal Bhavan in Mohali in Punjab, and in this building, this is the western facade again. On the left side you can see we provided all the toilet blocks. We combined all the toilet blocks and designed, placed it on the front side, on the western side, because during the day the front side get heated up and all heat is absorbed in the toilet block. Hence, thereby the heat is not transmitted inside the dormitories and inside other halls. These are the pictures of the Bal Bhavan. You can see all windows are properly protected. All windows are in this school. It's a very historic school which is designed by a very famous architect, J.K. Chaudhary, who designed IIT New Delhi. This is the original campus is designed by him. So we designed this particular building in that campus, which is matching his architecture. That was one criteria. At the same time, you can see all the windows are properly protected with a combination of horizontal and vertical louvers. It was a competition and we won this competition because the Raj Mata, the mother of Captain Amrinder Singh, she was the chairperson of the jury, and they have laid down a condition that architect will be selected who will not cut even a single tree, and it was a very densely planted site. So what we have done is we have put a very compact block in a very limited space, and not a single tree was cut. So that is the reason why we got this project. To make the junior school a very playful one, we have provided a 21 feet, about 7-meter wide corridor in the middle, having cutouts on the either side. You can see this cross section. The central corridor is in the middle like a bridge, and this bridge is having cutouts on the either side, and the hot air can go up and can escape through the skylights. And this central area is very well lit and looks very beautiful. And in other parts of this school, this is how we have shielded the windows. And this is another school which we did for a Christian community, Baptist school in Chandigarh. In this school, you can notice we have protected all the windows in a proper manner, and in addition to that, we opted for courtyard planning, which according to many modernists is a out-fashioned concept, but we insisted to the client that we will go for courtyard planning. And the smaller courtyards are covered with this kind of a polycarbonate sheet, and singly loaded corridor is feeding all the classrooms. And this is a housing project at Jalandhar, and this was we got an award from HUDCO for doing this project. It was an ideas competition, and this is the block we designed and submitted to the HUDCO. And in this particular picture, in this particular perspective, you can notice we have given earth berms at the bottom and perforations in the parapet, and there is a central stair tower and planters in front of the openings. And we have in the layout we have given courtyard planning also, and the top roof is proposed to be very thick, like Doshi has done in his Sangar. The picture on the right side is of Sangar, how he has given a thick mass in the top roof so that heat does not enter the interiors. This is the cross section showing the wind movement in the interiors. And this is a convention center for Ministry of Agriculture in Delhi. We designed this project and got the first prize. And you see that this was supposed to be an energy efficient building. We designed the top roof of this convention center. You can see in this picture, which is tapering towards the southwest, and the entire roof is made of solar photovoltaic panels. Apart from this, we have introduced, rainwater harvesting in a proper way. Not even a single tree was allowed to be cut. Green materials were introduced, and many other features we introduced in this project. This is the plan form. And after this, National Institute of Technology in Kurukshetra has asked us to design about 1,200 postgraduate students hostels, and it's a huge project. In this project, you can see we introduced courtyard planning, and again, each student of post graduation is getting an independent balcony, a very small balcony, where he can sit outside, and this balcony is protecting the window and the door as well. And these toilet blocks are put in one end. You see the layout. We opted for the right orientation. We given courtyard planning. We given thick walls, and introduced many other features which are very common, but yet saving on the energy. This is a small mental hospital in Punjab, in a town called Barnala. This is a hospital where you can see the window on the front facade. We have introduced this kind of a vocabulary to shield all the windows from bottom, from top, from sides. All the windows are properly protected so that no rain, no sun rays can penetrate this no glare can come inside. Apart from that, there is a small cutout kept in the middle to ventilate the deep interiors. And this is a detail of uh, on the left side how we protected the windows. This is a library, green library, which we built in a very remote village in Punjab. It's a very good project, very small project. In this project, you can notice we have put very small openings, and below the opening, the height of the opening is such so that we can place book racks, alongside the external walls, because book racks can serve as insulation material. Naturally, the heat intake in the interiors will be comparatively reduced. And on the top of the roof, we have kept a cooling tower, and that cooling tower, cools the air, and the cooled air is sucked and thrust to the interiors through the ducts, which are visible again in the front elevation. And this particular facade is northern side, and eastern and the western side we have provided the cavity walls. You can see cavity walls on the east and west side, and you can see the openings, reading areas, everything is kept on the north and southern side. Then that finishes the composite climate zone, and now we are going to talk about hot and dry region, that is Rajasthan, mainly Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat areas. When we design buildings in this region in particular, we have to resist heat gain and we have to promote heat loss. This is the design mantra. And we got a chance to design a huge housing project for Indian Army, where we built 800 houses in a township. And there is a requirement that we should face all the housing blocks on north and south, and the east and west sides should be blank. I have to give 16 presentations to the army authorities to convince them to follow this particular layout, because they are insisting just the opposite, because the road was in a different direction. The army general was insisting that I want a housing which is facing the front road, the main road. I said, sir, that will be totally wrong. And after 16th presentation, he said, okay, go ahead. And in this particular housing, you can see we have used a very simple housing, but we opted to have light colors, and we opted to have deep balconies and self-shading facade. And again, we opted to retain whatever single double tree is existing at site. The layout of the township is done in such a manner that not even a single tree was allowed to be cut. The next category is a warm and humid zone. In this zone, we got a chance to design some youth hostels in West Bengal and in Odisha and in Assam. We all know very simply that when we design buildings in a warm and humid region, we have to resist heat gain, promote heat loss, and we have to promote a lot of ventilation in such regions. And in the Bardhaman Youth Hostel, which we designed in West Bengal, very small building, you can see this is the plan of the hostel, where number 4 is written is a dormitory, and this dormitory got almost 6 openings. It is a very remote area. You don't get even proper electricity in that region. So what we did is that you open all the 6 openings in the dormitory, and you put the beds inside, and you will, at least it becomes livable. It's a youth hostel for young children who travel. And this is the picture of that. You can see, because we get a lot of rainfall, so the pipes get choked. So we provided rainwater spouts. We provided concrete jali in the staircase block. You can see we protected the windows from all sides by this projection boxes. Then we designed another hostel in Joshipur. Joshipur is in Odisha. You can see this is a sort of a uh, web, in which a hexagonal, sorry, this octagonal module is repeatedly used, and that octagonal module becomes courtyard also. And all the facilities are interwoven around those octagonal courtyards. You see, same formula we used rainwater sports because we get a lot of rainfall there. White color is used to reflect the sunlight. Small openings are introduced. Courtyard planning is done. And in a moderate region, in a moderate region, uh, the difference is that climate is not very harsh, but it's a very small pocket, near Pondicherry, which is shown in a purple color in this the India's map. The difference is the climate is very comparatively less harsh, so architects can play little more in these areas. And unfortunately, we couldn't get a chance to design any project in this belt, but I have borrowed one project from a close friend, architect Rumi Shroff from Bombay. He designed this corporate office complex at Pune, designed by Rumi Shroff, uh, which is falling in moderate climate, as I said earlier. You see, in this project, he used vertical slit openings, a very neat, clean facade with a staggered slit openings. Arthbombs are introduced, and in the interior, he has taken a lot of light from the skylights, which is provided over the atriums. It's a very beautiful building. Very beautiful. It was published, I think, 30 years back, and still it is one of the best building to my mind. And next category of climate is cold and cloudy region. I will show you one example of a bank in Shimla. Okay. These are design strategies for a cold and cloudy region. Here, the design strategies are just opposite. We have to resist heat loss. We have to promote heat gain, which is just the opposite to the composite climate design mantras. And this project is done by a very famous architect, Ashok Lal. And very small, very simple building. You can see glass facade, on the right side of this picture. There is a solid wall. There's a gap between glass wall and the solid wall, and glass absorbs the heat of the sun rays, and the air between the gap get heated up, and the heated air goes up, and that heated air, you can see the arrows are shown in this cross section. The heated air is taken into the interiors, and that is circulated in the interiors of the building, which gets naturally heated. Hence, thereby the load on heating
देखा कनेक्शन लॉस्ट हो गया। अभी रुक जाए यार, पहले रीजॉइन तो करने दो मुझे। रीजॉइन नहीं होगा ना मैं तो यहाँ पे दिखा रही हूँ, उसमें पता नहीं कौन सा रीजॉइन हो गया। बाकी सब तो होंगे थोड़ी देर तक, पहले मेरा यूट्यूब पे कनेक्शन हो जाएगा। पहले चलाया नहीं था, पहले नहीं चला रखा था। एक मिनट रुक जाओ। मोना जी पूजा करेंगे इसी के इस पे हो गया। मुझे यूट्यूब पे देखना पड़ेगा, आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा। यार इतने से लोग भी एकदम से बस मीटिंग एडमिट बनानी है यार।
a new concept of urban agriculture, which is followed in vertical farms. You know, with the growing urbanization, we are reducing the agricultural land, and the whole area is getting constructed. Hence, thereby, this man came up with Professor Dixon has came up with the concept that we can have agriculture on our buildings. This is technically he named it the vertical farm, and he claims that you can have agriculture in the building itself, and the residents of that particular building can use those fruits and vegetables in the cafeteria, and the building becomes self-sufficient. And this is a live example of his concept. It is a Pasona urban farm in Tokyo, designed by a New York firm, Kono Designs. It's a 9-story tower where the external facade is totally, planted with the vegetables and fruits. And the residents of users of all users of this building are using these fruits and vegetables. And these are some other pictures of this particular project. Out of nearly 20,000 square meter area of this particular project, nearly 4,000 square meter are reserved for agriculture in this building. It's a new trial. I think it's a beautiful concept. And then we have energy generating pavements. You see, by recycling the rubber, we can get pavement tiles which can generate electricity. Then we have a concrete which never gets blackened. This is the Jubilee Church where that concrete is used. Then in glass, nanotechnology is available now. No dirt is put on the glass; it gets automatically cleaned. And this is a project which I have personally visited in Bahrain. It's a World Trade Center designed by African architect Sean Killa. And this particular building has got 2 towers which are put at a particular angle to receive the wind, and 3 sky bridges are connecting it, and about 90 feet diameter. 3 wind turbines are fixed on them, and these wind turbines, when they run with the wind direction, with the wind movement, they generate electricity to the tune of meeting the demands of this project from 11 to 15%. I think it's a huge saving on electricity, and it's a beautiful concept. And these bridges are being used to maintain these turbines. You see, it's about 800 feet towers and 95 feet diameter turbines. Then we have a new concept of wind trees. Where we cannot use wind turbines, because wind turbines are normally used where we get high wind speed. But when we get a very low speed of wind, we can have these wind trees. Wind tree is an artificial tree which can generate electricity for the users of that particular area, and it can produce energy from wind which moves at just 7 kilometers per hour. And you see the detailing of the leaves, the artificial leaves. They receive the wind and they convert that wind pressure into electricity. And another new concept is of solar towers. Some engineers, some architects are working on this concept, because when we build multi-story buildings, the area on the top roof is very less to put solar photovoltaic panels, because the area gets consumed with water tanks or lift rooms on the top and many other services. So they are toying with the idea that why not we have this disc kind of a equipment fitted on the external facade of the building, and this disc can move like movement of the sunflower. This disk will get automatically oriented toward the face of the sun, and they will get maximum solar energy, and that solar energy will be used to run this building. So these are sensor operated solar disks. So all the technical details are available on, you can see. And earlier there was a concept that we have to put, straight solar panels. Now solar panels can be fitted in any form, on angular roof or circular roof. Panels are available in all shapes and sizes. And this is an example from Germany. In this particular building, you can see uh, the facade, the louvers of this building, which are seen in black color, are made of solar panels. The louvers are the window shades are producing electricity. In this building in Hong Kong, the glazing is replaced by solar panels. Solar panels are fitted in place of normal glass. Then in this building in Finland, you see the railings of these balconies are made of solar panels. How innovatively the foreign countries are using solar panels to save the energy. Then in the end, I would like to conclude that India is a very huge country, and we need to design buildings according to the requirement of a particular climate zone. And each zone has its own guidelines. Each zone has its own design mantras. We should strictly follow that. And all our religions are advocating saving the environment, saving the Mother Earth. And we architects have a double responsibility to save the Mother Earth for the future generations. And with this note, I close. Thank you so much. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ji.
Yes, sir. Abhitesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really nice session. What we have just
Thank
right
you.
now. So some students are asking like some questions. So I just going with one. One of asking is what or how we should choose materials according to our climate.
You see, there are many green materials are available in the market, and a lot of research is happening. Hello. Yeah. Lot of research is happening in this field, and in the near future you will be getting many more materials across the world, in India also. But in nutshell, we should use green materials. We have a bamboo available in different forms, like we have sheets of bamboo, we have frames of bamboo, we have roofing of bamboo, and we have green bricks, fly ash bricks, and so many other things. They are already available in the market. Yeah.
Sir, one is asking that wood construction or timber construction is restricted in Himalayan zone. So what should we
Yes.
prefer there?
We have many, materials which are replacement of the wood. Recently I have visited one plant in Punjab. They are making a wooden frames. The frames which look like wood, but it is made of the waste products. Many materials are available which can replace wood.
Sir, here Ishan just want to ask, will present situation change the choice of material for sustainable architecture?
Can you repeat?
will present situation change the choice of material for sustainable architecture?
Yes, yes, it changes according to situation. Yeah.
Uh, Sir, I just have one suggestion and I just want to know your point of view. As I am teaching in architecture college, so I just want to know if we will put some points in our teaching criteria that we should go with climate responsive architecture. What you want to add in this?
I think that your voice is missed in between. Can you repeat it?
Sir, I just want to ask, in our teaching criteria for architectural colleges, should we add some climate responsive point of view?
Yes, very much. I think otherwise we are spoiling our next generation of architects. We must teach them this. You know, we at Indian Institute of Architects, have done many seminars, many programs, and at our individual level also, even in foreign countries, we have advocated this concept. You know, I was in Egypt one day delivering a talk. You know, I asked all the Arab countries to develop their own codes. They should not follow the codes developed by Europe or by America or by any other country. I said, why don't you develop your own codes? Because your climate is different, your economy is different, everything is different. So we should teach our students what we need actually in India.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really nice with you. If anybody want to ask any question, you can write in chat box. Most welcome for 2 questions. We can just take 2, so please write there. Sir, Akshay Gupta is asking why sir has not used any active solar technique in the building.
Because India is a very poor country and the 70% of country's population is living in villages, and the elite buildings are only 2%. You know, we who will cater to the 98% of the population? When we design buildings in rural areas, we design buildings in smaller towns, we don't get proper technologies, we don't have funds for using costly softwares, we don't get that kind of a payment. So the practical difficulties are there. So we have decided to work for smaller towns, for rural areas, you know, where people do not have any access to technology, but yet they are entitled to good living. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And also me and of course the students are looking for some workshop that on climate responsive architecture. Please go for it. I will surely join.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So for today, I would like to thank everybody who joined us here. And for other questions, you can ask offline. I will ask sir to after the session. And thank you so much, sir. Guys who are going to miss this session, I am putting the video on my YouTube channel. You can see there. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, Avitesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.